Welcome back to Demon Slayer Anime Review, special number 3. This one I'm viewing the Pillar Training arc, which is the second to most recent arc of the manga. This particular arc is basically covered from chapters 128 to 136. Yes, a 9-chapter story. Now, I just finished rereading this arc. I had read the arc before. This arc, it doesn't seem like not a lot of stuff happens in this particular arc. I mean, there's some noteworthy moments. Like, for instance, the arc starts off with Tojiro in the hospital again, which makes this like the third arc in a row. He starts off in the freaking hospital. Like, they did this for Red Light District. They did this for the previous arc, and this one too. Yes, because it seems as though, like, ever since they did the third arc of the series, ever since they did the series, the I think it was the Jump House arc, which was the second arc, which was the fourth arc of the series. During the last portion arc, they did have some recovery. But it seems like since then, they just basically have the writers simply had it where, like, okay, I get the fact he probably needs to recover from the basically he probably was called out on this. Probably by some people who were reading the manga when manga heard to come out a few years ago, that the main character was not getting any rest between the arcs because, like, as soon as he completed a mission, he's off on the next mission. So you need time to recover, and this was nice of them to do. This is the second time in this series they've actually had a whole arc where it's basically a recovery arc. Somewhat, anyways. Basically, the first portion of it, anyways. The rest of it is basically the story. And he sort of recounts basically what happened in the previous arc, like Nezuko can actually see the sunlight again. He does get a new sword. Yes, a brand spanking new sword. Basically, the sword he got in the previous arc because his original sword was chipped. Yeah, this one was the sword he found, which was basically reforged and had the guild hilt from the Flame Pillar, who was killed in the Demon Train arc, and it's part of his new sword now. And they comment, though, the fact that whoever was the previous owner of the sword was a really good swordsman, and the fact that he has a Chinese character been destroyed. Okay. And as soon as he left the hospital, he goes meet up with a love pill, which he's so happy to see her. And, like, they go to her house. Apparently, she has bees in her house. She goes honey. They have some pancakes. Nice little bit there. He also meets up with the snake pillar, which apparently keeps a bunch of people in his own, like, warehouse because they were wasting time, taking him off. Basically, minuscule things. Yep. We also have where the leader of Demon Corps is. He's actually absent for this arc because the illness he's been... Now, it's been hinted that he's suffered from some illness that could explain what's going on with his face. My guess is because the main villain of the series dead to him. Apparently he's ill, so it's basically his... Let's just say his attendants basically take care of the pillar meeting. Okay. So, they discuss for these marks that apparently were discovered in the previous arc. And Tanjiro basically has one of these marks. And they've been searching for this for like about 400 years. So they finally found it. So they said everybody goes to some special training. And Tojiro and his two friends actually go to this very training. And Zenzo wants to become a new Thunder Pillar. Okay. And Insui basically wants to become either the Boar Pillar or the Mountain Pillar. Now, in the case of the main character, he's suggested by the first Demon Slayer he met basically, he pops with this arc again. He suggested he should come to Water Pillar because he felt as though he was not worthy of the position of being the Water Pillar. Reason? Because he didn't pass the selection exam. So he wants to become the new Water Pillar. Okay? And basically a lot of this arc is simply right after that, just training. And, well, then the arc ends with the main villain showing up at Demon HQ. Yeah, so an arc that you can tell basically not a lot of stuff happens, but I would say, and of course, Nezuko does appear in this arc, but only for like the last couple chapters. She doesn't really do anything. She's there. She's mentioned a few times at the start of the arc. Tojiro is basically very happy to see her because he's got a thing for her. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the arc. If you want to ask me what my personal favorite moment is, it's Tojiro with the love pillar. Yes, their chemistry is like, it is something though we waited like, okay, she got introduced in the retraining arc at the start of it, and they wait till Swordsman Village to have these two interact, and I love it when these two interact because of all the pillars, these two have got fantastic chemistry with each other. It is something though that she never fell for him, and I don't know how old she is, but she's probably not that much older than he is. I mean, he's supposed to be about, I'd say, 17-ish. She's probably in her mid to late 20s, I'd say. That's just my personal guess. They've never listed exactly how old these people are, some anyways. I mean, the first Demon Slayer, Tojiro, he's probably in his early 20s. Yep. This arc is pretty decent for what it is. It's not a terrible arc. It's just kind of weak because not a lot of stuff is accomplished with it. It's like stuff has started, but we have to stop because the main villain showed up in the series. And this sets up the next arc of the series, the Infinite Fortress, which is still going on now. This arc has been officially going as of, the most recent chapter, which is 188. Approximately 52 chapters. Yep, this arc has been going now for 1 year. Yes, as of last week, basically, it's been like that. I am going to read that next, and then pretty much now, in case you're wondering what manga series, basically I'm going to do the similar thing of like reviewing the arcs for. I'm going to go back to Pandora Heart, just so I can finish that particular manga. As a matter of fact, I haven't finished reading the manga yet. Demon Slayer, I have read the whole manga already. It's just I'm rereading the arcs basically that came right after Demon Train because I felt like I initially was not planning on doing this, but I feel like doing it anyways because of the arc so far that I've read, the review so far. Red Light District is pretty good. I love the Swordsman training arc because of the arcs that come afterwards. This was by far the weakest arc of the entire of the 4 arcs reviewed so far. This one's by far the weakest because for its length and for the fact that not a lot of stuff happens in this arc. There's some good stuff that happens in this arc, but not a lot of stuff happens. It feels as though it's a bit retreading of the first arc of the series where involved the main character wants a lot of training. This time, he's trained to become a pillar. Is he appointed pillar by the end of the arc? No. You won't find out until the start of probably the very next arc of the series, which is basically the Infinite Fortress arc, which is still going on. That arc is taking me a little while to get through because it's 52 chapters. Yes, 52. Yep. How long it'll take me to get through this arc? I have no idea. Though I'm going to read up until like probably the most recent chapter of the series, which is chapter 188. Yep. So, yeah, not much else to say about this particular arc. But of the 3 arcs I've reviewed so far, this one is by far the weakest. If I think of the strongest arc, it's probably Swordsman Village. Because this arc was just so good, and you got a ton of serious progression with this particular arc. This one, I would say the only serious progression you got is the main character gets a new sword. And he goes through some training. Aside from that, I mean, a lot of the rest of the characters, like Zenosuke and Inosuke, don't get any development in this arc. I mean, if you look at, let's say, the previous arc of the series, they didn't show up until like toward the very end of the arc, which is kind of odd, because generally these 3 characters basically are interconnected with each other since the Drum House arc. These 3 are basically an inseparable trio, and they've generally been together in every single arc since that particular arc. Zenosuke showed up in the 3rd arc. He showed up in, I don't think it was Akusa, was it? It was actually in Jump House arc, yes. That was the first arc that these 3 characters actually work with. And for the past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arcs. In the previous 6 arcs before this one, with the exception of Swordsman Village, these 3 have been inseparable. And, yeah, it's something, though, that for this arc, they did some training. Not a lot. I mean, Inosuke is probably the only one who gets 0 character development in this whole arc. Yeah, I mean, there's no character progression for him. He just says he wants to become one of the new pillars, like either the Boar Pillar or the Mountain Pillar. Aside from that, he doesn't do very much. Zenosuke doesn't do very much, aside from the fact he gets a chance to bite the main 4 character's head, which is the first time he's actually done it. let's see. Aside from um the main character, the only character I could possibly think of who received some character development this whole arc, and this is my opinion, there's actually a couple of characters who have. The insect pillar, she does play this arc, but she doesn't do anything at all. No. I would say the only two characters, aside from the main character, who gets some development this arc, is probably the water pillar and the love pillar. That's basically it. Also, the Stone Pillar gets some stuff basically done. Yeah, he's one to suggest this training in the first place. Aside from that, he doesn't do, like, after he suggests it, he does almost nothing till the end of the arc. And aside from him suggesting this particular performance training, this character, Steve, this is the Stone Pillar. And this is probably the one pillar who's received zero character development. Why in the world did the writer of the series at this point is not give this character any development, much as a backstory at this point, is completely unknown. Oh yeah, and also he gets, like, Tojiro gets a chance to interact with one of the people from the final selection, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Not really, no. It's just brief. Unlike the last arc where they kind of briefly interacted, but also went nowhere. Yeah, this is one character I don't really care for because the writer has not given a damn about this character at all. I mean, after the final selection arc, the character disappeared for a long time until he showed up in the retraining arc. Yeah, until he showed up in the functional discovery training arc, the guy had been largely absent for majority of the series at that point. Oh, he's back. He popped up in this arc, he popped up in Sergeant Village, and he popped up in this arc as well. He's just the younger brother of one of the pillars. Aside from that, the guy is somewhat of a bully, and at this point, he hasn't received much development. Next arc, like a lot of the characters do, if I remember reading it. But yeah, expect to see a review of the next arc soon, per se. As for if I'm going to get a chance to review any Renmatei, I don't know. If I do, good. If I don't, well, worry about it tomorrow, okay? But do you see next view. Bye.